Hello everyone. We have a special guest today. It's the 155 GM f1.8. According to everything I've read so far, this is a gem. This is supposed to be a very sharp lens. The sharpest lens in the Sony lineup so far, and one of the sharpest lenses ever made. It's also one of the very few lenses in the Sony lineup that can auto-resolve the sensor in the A7R4. That's a 61 megapixel sensor. There's a lot of resolution there to resolve. Let's do it! Excited! Nice. Yeah, the balance is good. It's definitely lighter than the 7200 that I have. It's much lighter than 7200. Don't you love to look inside lenses? I do. Let's check focus real quick. Mild? Good. Mild more? More? A little bit less? Good. That's fast. Yeah, this is really fast and really silent. At f1.8, it's really silent. Let's try close the aperture. It's a little bit more noisy, but it's not bad. It's a definite improvement on other lenses like the 50mm that I have, which gets very noisy. Nice. That's really quick, and we are at f11, which is very close. Not much light coming in. When I open up, oh, this is super fast and it's very silent. Now I'm growing more and more in love with the aperture ring. It makes shooting more responsive because the camera doesn't have to close the aperture right before the exposure. One of the issues is that when you shoot at the closed aperture, which is something that I do a lot being a landscape photographer, focusing is not as fast because there is less light coming in. And it's also more noisy. Then you get, by default, depth of field in the viewfinder, which is extremely useful. And you don't have to have a button, as I used to on the A99 II, to preview depth of field. Oh, this is obviously a portrait lens, and I'm a landscape photographer. I use telephoto lenses a lot in two scenarios. The first one is when I want to shoot more intimate landscapes and details. For example, my series on waterfalls in Hawaii, where I was shooting just details of the waterfall abstracted from the rest of the scene. In that case, it was a 300mm. Another scenario is when I shoot panoramas, which means taking several exposures one after the other and changing the framing slightly every time and then stitching everything together at the end in Lightroom. It makes some stunning images. For example, Haleakala is one of the examples. It makes it for very high resolution results, and I can't wait to try with a 61 megapixel camera and see what comes out. The problem of making panoramas is the lens that you use needs to be a telephoto that goes from 85 generally to 200. That's the range that I use. And telephoto lenses are portrait lenses, so they're optimized for sharpness in the center of the frame, not in the corners, because it makes it for more pleasing portraits. But this lens is supposed to be very sharp all across the frame, which makes it much easier to stitch together different frames to produce the final panorama. Shooting panorama is my main use case for the 135. Let's look at manual focus. Ooh, that's very smooth. The ring is extremely smooth. And it nicely zooms in as soon as you engage manual focus ring. That's awesome. There is a selector here that lets you select the focus range. It means the lens can focus the full range or just from close up, 0.7 to 2 meters. The minimum focus distance is 0.7 meters, or from 1.5 to infinity. It's the first time I see a lens with 3 selections. And then you have the clicking selector here, which declicks the aperture ring. It's very useful for videos when you want to smoothly change the aperture. You can notice an addition to my camera from the 24mm unboxing and first impression video. I added an L plate from Really Right Stuff. It's essential when you shoot on tripods as much as I do, because you can quickly change the orientation from vertical to horizontal and back. And this particular version that mounts to the vertical grip makes it very comfortable to hold the camera both vertical and horizontal. It's a great addition, I'm very happy. It also holds a second battery, which is useful in the field, but the camera doesn't use the battery much, so if you have a tripod, there's no reason not to buy one. The link to this is in the description. This is all metal, as it should be, being a GM lens. Feels very solid, as it should be. I'm looking forward to trying this lens for a panorama as soon as possible. And you will be there with me as usual. Then we can walk together through how you actually shoot a panorama in the field. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe and like the video down there. Thank you very much. See you next time.